After 7 years of marriage, my 33-year-old wife and I have yet to have children. Approximately 2 years ago, she embarked on a new career path and quickly excelled. Initially, she harbored disdain for a particular coworker, whom she unaffectionately dubbed an hole. However, her sentiments toward him gradually softened, and she ceased discussing him altogether. At the time, I saw no cause for concern. Despite our marriage's imperfections, trust remained the cornerstone, and we generally enjoyed an amicable relationship. Fast forward to about a month ago, and I began to notice subtle yet significant changes in her behavior. She became increasingly engrossed in her phone, frequently engaged in texting, and kept it within arm's reach at all times. Her evenings and weekends, once leisurely and relaxed, suddenly brimmed with inexplicable booziness. Moreover, she grew distant, evading any displays of affection, and began fabricating falsehoods, no matter how trivial. The tipping point occurred when she packed for a purported business trip, including a revealing swimsuit that seemed utterly inappropriate for a professional endeavor. When confronted, she concocted a flimsy story about its origin, claiming it was unsuitable for the trip, only to clandestinely pack it anyway. Fueled by mounting suspicions and an unshakable sense of betrayal, I resolved to conduct a thorough investigation. Despite harboring reservations about invading her privacy, the incessant deception warranted a closer examination. Rifling through her work bag, I stumbled upon a peculiar caricature-like drawing of her scrawled on hotel stationery, accompanied by a conspicuously handwritten post-it note bearing directions to her male co-worker's residence. Delving deeper into our bank statements unearthed a series of discrepancies, where her purported work hours clashed with lavish dining excursions across the city. Driven by an insatiable thirst for truth, I assumed the role of a professional private investigator, with no qualms about leveraging legal means to corroborate my suspicions. Swiftly and discreetly, I installed a global positioning system tracker in her car, a vehicle registered under my name, thereby negating any legal impediments. Upon her return from the ostensible business trip, a series of incongruities further fueled my apprehension. Her purported whereabouts consistently contradicted the verifiable data provided by the global positioning system tracker, unveiling a pattern of deceit and betrayal that cut to the core of our marriage's foundation. However, the culmination of events unfolded on a fateful Saturday morning, slated for an innocent outing to watch my niece play tennis. Seizing an opportunity for solitude, she insisted on driving alone, citing a desire to proceed directly to a nearby coffee shop post-match. Employing the global positioning system tracker, I shadowed her every move, eventually trailing her to a clandestine rendezvous at a Comfort Inn motel, shattering the illusion of fidelity and catapulting me into a maelstrom of disbelief and heartache. Summoning every ounce of resolve, I confronted her in the lobby of the motel, feigning ignorance as I probed her whereabouts. Her feeble attempt at deception crumbled under the weight of irrefutable evidence, laying bare the stark reality of her infidelity and plunging our once promising union into a chasm of betrayal and despair. "Listen, it's not what you think," she pleaded, desperation lacing her voice as she attempted to salvage the shattered remains of our marriage. "He's had affairs before. He does this all the time," she insisted, her words a feeble attempt to justify the inexplicable. Confusion knotted my stomach as her words sank in. "Affairs? Hotel rooms?" I repeated, incredulous, struggling to comprehend the gravity of her admission. She assured me they hadn't crossed physical boundaries, but the damage was already irreparable. "Get out," I uttered, my voice tinged with a mixture of disbelief and resignation as I watched her retreat from my car. Her incessant calls punctuated the silence, each ring amplifying the turmoil raging within me. When I finally relented and answered, I issued a stern ultimatum: one lie, and the conversation would cease. The truth, though painful, was the only currency accepted in this fraught exchange. Admissions trickled forth, confessions tainted with regret and remorse. A fleeting kiss, she divulged, a mere 5 months prior, a transgression she purported to regret. Yet, the revelation of clandestine rendezvous at hotels, a veritable parade of deceit spanning 9 months, shattered whatever semblance of trust remained. I probed further, unraveling the intricacies of her elaborate web of deception. Each revelation, a dagger to the heart, as I grappled with the enormity of her betrayal. She lingered in the driveway, a silent testament to the shattered remnants of our once happy home. As I loaded my belongings into the car, a tangible reminder of the chasm that now yawned between us. A month elapsed, marked by sporadic attempts at reconciliation, yet mired in the mire of unresolved grievances. Conversations with her became a minefield of deflection and denial. Her insistence on a gradual cessation of communication with her accomplice, a thinly veiled attempt to retain a semblance of normalcy. Yet, beneath the veneer of contrition, a festering wound remained, a tapestry of half-truths and evasions woven into the fabric of our shattered trust. Fueled by a relentless pursuit of truth, I clandestinely deployed a voice recorder, a silent witness to the clandestine conversations that transpired in my absence. The revelations unearthed by the recording served as a damning indictment of her purported contrition, a betrayal laid bare in the unguarded moments captured on tape. Yet, amidst the wreckage of our fractured marriage, a solitary question lingered: could trust, once shattered, ever be made whole again? In a poignant twist of fate, I found myself entangled in a web of deceit woven by the one person I trusted most. Our home, once a sanctuary of love and trust, became the stage for a tragedy of betrayal and deception. The clandestine conversations, veiled behind layers of secrecy, unfolded in hushed tones, unbeknownst to me, the unwitting audience to a tale of infidelity and treachery. As the clandestine rendezvous unfolded, their laughter resonated through the hollow corridors of our once happy home, a haunting echo of the love we once shared. Confrontation became inevitable, a necessary reckoning amidst the wreckage of broken vows and shattered trust. Her admission, a bitter pill to swallow, laid bare the extent of her transgressions, a betrayal that cut deeper than any physical wound. Yet, even amidst the rubble of our fractured marriage, a glimmer of hope lingered, a fleeting chance at redemption amidst the ruins. Her confession, though belated, marked a tentative step towards reconciliation, a fragile bridge spanning the chasm of our broken trust. But beneath the veneer of contrition, a seed of doubt took root, a lingering question that haunted the recesses of my mind: could love, once tarnished by deceit, ever be made whole again? The subsequent weeks were marked by a delicate dance of forgiveness and acceptance, a tumultuous journey through the depths of heartache and despair. Each revelation, a jagged shard of truth, pierced the fragile veil of our shattered dreams, leaving behind a trail of broken promises and shattered illusions. In the end, the decision to part ways was inevitable, a painful yet necessary step towards healing the wounds that ran deeper than mere words could convey. The road to recovery would be long and arduous, marked by the echoes of a love lost and the scars of a betrayal that cut to the bone. As I stand on the precipice of a new beginning, I am reminded of the resilience of the human spirit, a testament to the indomitable strength that lies within us all. Though the journey ahead may be fraught with uncertainty, I take solace in the knowledge that with each passing day, I grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient than before. Behavior was secretive, and she seemed anxious when I asked about her whereabouts. Her explanations were often vague and evasive. Despite my growing suspicions, I buried them deep within me, reluctant to confront the painful truth. The birth of our second child, a daughter, further fueled my doubts. Her features were even less reminiscent of mine than our son's, and as she grew older, it became increasingly apparent that she bore no resemblance to me or my side of the family. Fate has a way of forcing our hand. One day, while cleaning out our attic, I stumbled upon a hidden box tucked away in a corner. My curiosity piqued. I opened it, and what I found shook me to my core. Inside were documents revealing my wife's infidelities and the true paternity of our children. It was a devastating blow, one that shattered the illusion of happiness and tore apart the fabric of our family. Amidst the wreckage, I found a glimmer of hope. The truth, while painful, was liberating. It freed me from the chains of deceit and allowed me to reclaim my life and my identity. I confronted my wife with the evidence, and she confessed tearfully, admitting to her transgressions and the lies she had spun to conceal them. Our marriage irreparably damaged, I made the difficult decision to end it, to seek a fresh start and rebuild my life from the ground up. Though the road ahead is uncertain, I face it with courage and resilience. For I know that with each passing day, I grow stronger and more determined to forge my own path forward. If you find yourself in a similar situation, know that you are not alone. Reach out to those who care for you, seek support and guidance, and above all, never lose sight of your worth and your dignity. For in the darkest of moments lies the potential for the greatest of triumphs. In the unraveling saga of my marriage, the discrepancies in my wife's activities became increasingly glaring. There were unexplained gaps in her schedule, moments when her whereabouts didn't align with her claims. She adamantly refused any interaction with colleagues from her workplace, and disturbing rumors of flirtation with others surfaced. Despite the mounting evidence, I clung to a naive hope that her love for me surpassed her deceitful nature. Even after the birth of our second child, I held onto a fleeting glimmer of hope that she remained faithful. Yet, the undeniable truth emerged with the birth of our daughter, whose multi-ethnic features confirmed my suspicions. The paternity test I insisted upon shattered any illusions I harbored about our family's integrity. It was a devastating blow that prompted me to initiate divorce proceedings and walk away from the life I had built. However, the repercussions of my decision extended far beyond the dissolution of our marriage. I grappled with the guilt of abandoning a child who, though not biologically mine, I had loved and cared for as my own. Despite the manipulation and emotional blackmail from my ex-wife, I remained resolute in my decision to sever ties. The criticism and condemnation from others weighed heavily on me, but I found solace in the unwavering support of my parents. Yet, amidst the turmoil, I couldn't shake the profound sense of betrayal and sorrow that engulfed me. My own feelings were dismissed and disregarded, overshadowed by societal expectations of masculinity and fatherhood. I struggled with the notion of continuing to play a role that was no longer mine to bear, torn between love and resentment for a child caught in the crossfire. Ultimately, I realized that reclaiming my own life was paramount, even if it meant relinquishing the title of father. It was a painful realization, but one that afforded me a semblance of peace amidst the chaos. Though my journey may have been fraught with hardship and heartache, it was a necessary step towards embracing my own truth and finding closure in the face of adversity. Let me address some common questions and concerns that have arisen. Firstly, regarding her son's awareness of the truth behind my departure, I had a candid conversation with him, explaining the circumstances and assuring him that my feelings towards him remain unchanged. He bears no fault in this situation, and I hold no resentment towards him. There have been suggestions that I never truly cared for him or that I was always seeking an exit. Expressing emotions through text can be challenging, especially when overshadowed by animosity towards an unfaithful spouse. However, my actions have been guided by a desire to navigate this situation with integrity. I want to clarify that I have legal representation, and I won't be obligated to pay child support or alimony. As for suggestions that I should continue as his father, it's simply not feasible given the circumstances. While I harbor no animosity towards him, I cannot ignore the deceit and exploitation I've endured. Some have questioned the authenticity of my post, speculating about its validity. I won't disclose personal details, but I am taking legal steps to address paternity issues. While this may not silence all critics, I am committed to pursuing justice through legal channels. I want to express my gratitude for the support I've received. Your kindness has been a source of solace during this challenging time. I understand that some may find the language I used inappropriate, and I acknowledge that criticism. However, it's an unfiltered expression of my emotions amidst profound turmoil. My intent is not to propagate negativity towards women but to share my raw experience. Today, I sought solace in this community, a space where I could unburden my heart, express my grief, and grapple with the tumultuous emotions that have plagued me for the past month. It's been a journey of introspection, and I'm grateful for the support and understanding I've found here. Now, let me share another chapter of my life. Our story began when we were both fresh out of college at the tender age of 22. Initially, I approached her as a friend, but soon my feelings blossomed, and I took the leap to ask her out. For 9 blissful months, I was convinced she was the one, until a sudden change swept over her, leaving me bewildered and heartbroken. She expressed a reluctance for anything serious, harboring aspirations of pursuing further studies in the USA, while I yearned for a committed relationship. Her popularity and allure cast a shadow of insecurity over me, as I grappled with my own journey towards self-assurance. Despite our parting, we remained tethered by mutual acquaintances, and over the years, I observed her romantic pursuits, the failed attempts at arranged marriages orchestrated by her parents, and the tumultuous twists of fate that brought us back together at 27. Our reunion was marked by hope and promise, yet it soon unraveled under the weight of differing timelines and expectations. Our intimacy was electric, our connection palpable, but the specter of marriage loomed large, casting a shadow of doubt upon our future. In those cherished 6 months of rekindled romance, our bond flourished, fueled by passion and tenderness. Yet, as discussions turned towards marriage, our paths diverged. I hesitated, scarred by the wreckage of failed unions that littered the lives of friends, while she yearned for commitment and stability. Our once sweet exchanges soured, replaced by discord and ultimatums. Despite my protestations, I found myself ensnared in a web of coercion, torn between love and self-preservation. The pain of that decision lingers, a poignant reminder of the fragility of love and the complexities of human connection. Though the wounds may heal, the scars remain, testament to the trials endured on the path to self-discovery. And yet, in the midst of this turmoil, I find solace in the embrace of this community, a beacon of light amidst the darkness of uncertainty. In the realm of our relationship, 3 months have elapsed since our paths converged once more. She, returning to the gentle demeanor that first captivated my heart, conceded her misstep in claiming she could swiftly find another companion, asserting instead that I am the one she envisions her future with. The topic of marriage looms prominently in our discourse, propelled by parental nudges towards the altar. Despite her willingness to grant me the time I need to embrace such a significant commitment, I find myself grappling with apprehensions. The mercurial shifts between warmth and aloofness give rise to doubts, raising suspicions about the authenticity of her affection. Could her newfound sweetness be merely a guise to coerce me into matrimony? While my fondness for her remains, a lingering unease festers, casting shadows of doubt over the viability of our union. The prospect of marriage, once a distant horizon, now looms ominously, its allure tarnished by the specter of coercion. An update soon follows, a testament to the transformative power of introspection and the wisdom gleaned from the counsel of kindred spirits. The chaos of a Saturday morning gives way to clarity, prompting a decisive step towards closure. I summon the courage to sever the ties that bind, articulating my misgivings and asserting my autonomy. In the aftermath of our parting, a maelstrom of emotions engulfs us, as accusations and recriminations punctuate our exchange. Yet, amid the tempest of our emotions, a glimmer of resolution emerges. We convene once more, intent on salvaging remnants of goodwill from the wreckage of our relationship. In a candid exchange of grievances and accolades, we confront the fractures that mar our bond. Acknowledging past missteps and tendering apologies, we navigate the delicate terrain of closure with grace and dignity. In a final act of reconciliation, she extends a gesture of intimacy, a poignant reminder of the passion that once ignited our love. Though our paths diverge, and the embers of our romance fade, we part ways with a sense of closure, grateful for the moments shared and the lessons learned. As we bid farewell to the chapters of our past, embracing the promise of new beginnings fortified by the resilience of the human spirit, my girlfriend and her best friend announced they were ready to go to the other girl's house. They expressed surprise that I wasn't joining them, but I reiterated that I preferred to stay and hang out with her best friend's boyfriend instead. Feeling comfortable with him and always having a good time together, they seemed a bit disappointed but ultimately accepted my decision. My girlfriend assured me they wouldn't be long and just wanted to catch up with this other girl since they hadn't seen her in a while. Waving them off as they left, I settled in to enjoy the rest of my evening with her best friend's boyfriend. We chatted about various topics and played some video games, one of our favorite pastimes, until they returned around 10:30 p.m. My girlfriend apologized for being gone longer than expected and explained that they got caught up in conversations with the other girl and her roommates. I didn't mind it at all as I was having a good time anyway. My girlfriend and I bid her best friend and her boyfriend farewell and headed back to her place. During the drive, she mentioned that the other girl and her roommates had offered us to stay longer and even invited us to spend the night. I declined the offer, explaining that I had work in the morning and preferred to sleep in my own bed. She seemed a bit disappointed but understood my reasoning. When we got back to her place, we watched a movie, cuddled on the couch, and then headed to bed. It was a simple but pleasant evening, and I felt content as I drifted off to sleep. The next morning, I woke up refreshed and ready to tackle the day ahead of me. Little did I know that this seemingly Ordinary Wednesday night would soon become the catalyst for a series of unexpected events that would challenge my relationship and test the bounds of trust and communication between my girlfriend and me. I had finished my work and decided to head over to my girlfriend's place, looking forward to spending some quality time together as we often did. Our relationship had been going on for about a year and a half, and things had been relatively smooth sailing up until this point. When I arrived at her house, she seemed a bit preoccupied, mentioning plans to meet up with her best friend and another acquaintance for drinks at someone's house. Initially, I wasn't thrilled about going to this other girl's place, as I preferred spending time at her best friend's place where I could hang out comfortably. However, my girlfriend seemed adamant about changing the plan and insisted we go to this other person's house. Reluctantly, I agreed to compromise, suggesting that we only stay until midnight and then head home. Little did I know that this seemingly innocent decision would lead to a series of bizarre events that would leave me feeling utterly shocked and betrayed. We arrived at the other girl's place, and it was exactly as I had expected, a shabby, messy apartment filled with people I didn't particularly want to associate with. My discomfort only grew as the night progressed, and it became apparent that my girlfriend and her friend were getting increasingly drunk. As the clock approached midnight, I reminded my girlfriend of our agreement to leave, but she seemed completely absorbed in whatever was happening at this gathering. It was then that I overheard snippets of conversation about a supposed foursome involving my girlfriend, her friend, and two other girls at the party. I was taken aback and unsure of what to do. I certainly didn't want to barge into the room and interrupt whatever was happening, but I also couldn't just stand by and let things unfold without saying anything. After what felt like an eternity of indecision, I finally mustered up the courage to enter the room and put an end to whatever was happening. The scene that greeted me was beyond my worst nightmares. My girlfriend and her friend, under the blankets on a dirty bed, engaged in intimate activities with the other two girls. I was stunned, disgusted, and utterly betrayed by what I was witnessing. In a state of shock, I confronted my girlfriend, demanding an explanation for her actions. She tried to pass it off as a joke, but I wasn't buying it. I felt a mixture of anger, hurt, and disbelief coursing through me as I struggled to process what had just transpired. After a tense and tearful confrontation, we left the apartment and headed back to our place. Throughout the taxi ride and the night that followed, my girlfriend pleaded for forgiveness, but I couldn't bring myself to forgive or forget what had happened. In the days that followed, I grappled with feelings of betrayal, anger, and confusion. Despite my girlfriend's apologies and promises to change, I knew deep down that our relationship had been irreparably damaged. I realized that I couldn't trust her anymore and that our relationship was over. It's been a few weeks since then, and I'm still trying to come to terms with what happened. The pain and hurt linger, but I know that I made the right decision for myself. Moving on won't be easy, but I'm determined to heal and rebuild my life without someone who would betray my trust so callously. Upon returning home, I find myself in a state of disbelief, unsure of how to react to the surreal events that just unfolded. I gather my thoughts and calmly instruct my girlfriend and her friend to collect their belongings so we can depart from this peculiar setting. Despite the apologies from her friend, I am rendered speechless, grappling with a whirlwind of emotions that refuse to be articulated. As we drive home, the atmosphere is heavy with tension, exacerbated by my girlfriend's evident intoxication. Attempting to engage in conversation proves futile, as her inebriated state renders communication nearly impossible. Yet, amidst the haze of alcohol, a flicker of recognition surfaces within her, acknowledging the gravity of her actions. Initially, she seeks to justify her behavior, attributing it to a perceived lack of attention and participation in certain activities on my part. However, as we delve deeper into discussion the following day, she confronts the reality of her actions, acknowledging the betrayal and hurt they have caused. She reveals that she and her friend believed I would condone their actions, rationalizing that it was merely a playful encounter between two women. However, I express my profound discomfort with the situation, emphasizing that infidelity knows no gender bounds. Though my girlfriend grapples with guilt and remorse, our interactions remain strained, shrouded in uncertainty and apprehension. I am acutely aware of the weight of my decision, torn between the desire for forgiveness and the need to uphold my boundaries. I acknowledged the complexity of the situation, recognizing that forgiveness does not equate to condoning betrayal. In conveying my stance to my girlfriend, I emphasized the gravity of the situation and the consequences of any future transgressions. As we navigate the aftermath of this tumultuous ordeal, I am left grappling with questions of trust, forgiveness, and the delicate balance between compassion and self-preservation.